Let me tell you a beautiful story. A beautiful story about a sweet, caring, loving, innocent little girl possessed by the devil. Oh yeah, today I'm football tackling with one of the scariest and most famous horror movies of all time, The Exorcist. About a little girl, like I said in the beginning, possessed by the devil. Actually, it's not really the devil, the demon is actually called Pazuzu, but that wasn't revealed in the movie, not until the sequel, Exorcist 2, The Heretic, but we're not talking about that one. The horror movie business doesn't get a lot of love at award ceremonies, but this movie right here actually won awards for Best Sound, Best Adapted Screenplay, and Best Picture. So this movie has a lot of history. It's an endless machine of facts and topics that spew right out of your mouth. Never ending. Linda Blair, who portrays Reagan McNeil, the possessed little girl in the film, has gone on record to say that after 45 years, she's sick to death of being interviewed about the film and telling the same constant stories about what it was like. One person who interviewed her decided to talk to her about plants and flowers and went on record saying that she was very, very happy about that interview and loved talking about plants because let's make Earth safe, I guess. But let's move on with the movie, for God's sakes. Get it? Get it? God's sakes. Exorcist, devil, their enemies. The movie is based on a novel by William Peter Blatty, who based his novel on a real-life exorcist accounted of a 14-year-old boy named Roland Doe in the 1940s. The movie has a creepy but great opening scene with the credits and Iraq setting. Father Marin, played by Max von Sydow, who was only 44 at the time, and was very respectful to have his face look old. Male actors wouldn't like looking young or older, but von Sydow didn't mind. Great man. Of course, he was killed by Kylo Ren in the beginning of The Force Awakens and actually looked like what he looked like in The Exorcist, but he was slayed quickly, but we're not talking about that. His character has a lot of experiences with exorcisms, and he sees a statue that is Pazuzu. It's an excellent scene with dogs fighting, the dust in the wind, and the ultimate shot face-off between the two. It also makes us feel as if he's seen this statue before and he's not intimidated by it, and he has been in contact with Pazuzu already. Of course, that was talked about and actually shown in the prequel movie Exorcist the Beginning, but we're not talking about that. But yeah, the entire opening scene is a very pleasant visual masterpiece, taking 9 minutes of the film. We're then taken to Georgetown, which is where another one of the main characters live, Chris McNeil. Chris is a great name. And we see a beautiful relationship between mother and daughter. Chris is an actress, and so is Reagan, I guess, we're led to believe. She stumbles upon a Ouija board, and we know playing with Ouija boards always fun and safe. She says she met a friend named Captain Howdy, and that sounds like the nicest ghost ever, but it's not. Night after night, Chris starts experiencing weird shit like noises in the basement, Reagan's bed shaking, Reagan using foul languages towards doctors, Reagan pissing her pants during a party. A lot of things about Reagan here. Her close friend, director Burt Dennings, falling out of a window and dying. Okay, there we go, something that has nothing to do with Reagan. But then we're led to believe she did it with the weird behavior. Oh, come on now! Damien Karras, another key character this movie follows, is an experienced priest and boxer, like that forwards anything. His life is a stinker, lives in a shitty neighborhood, has a sick mother who blames him for putting her in the hospital, cold, and is put up to the task to deal with Reagan by Chris. So, good couple days for Karras. But Jason Miller does a great job. You know what I didn't even notice until like the day before I started working on this review? The face of the demon Pazuzu is actually a woman's face. Yeah, that blew my mind. Her name is Aline Dietz, and she's best known for her role here. She stood in for Blair during the vomiting scene, the levitation scene, and the cross masturbation scene. Gross. So Dietz has a big hand in the movie, especially with this. That doesn't even look like a woman. It's great. And also, a woman provides the voice of Pazuzu that's just translated through Blair's lip syncs. Mercedes McCambridge, and she is great and sounds super creepy. I also discovered that Linda Blair did the lines that Mercedes said in the film, just in case they didn't get the translations right, I guess. Hearing Linda say the lines after all the years of hearing Mercedes say it is weird, but hey, it's great to have rare footage of this kind.
I'm Damien Karras.
And I'm the devil! Now kindly undo these straps.
Quod nomen mihi est.
La plume de ma tante.
How long are you planning to stay in Reagan?
until she rots and lies stinking in the earth. What's that?
Holy water.
You keep it away. Keep it away. Oh, it burns! It burns! Oh, it burns!
Another great example is the spider walk scene that was shot twice, once with a stunt double actually in that position, crawling down like that with the wires attached, and screaming with blood in her mouth, and another in which Reagan turns around and flicks her snake-like tongue out and follows Sharon. This scene was actually in the novel, and to me, I think this is better and more creepy. Imagine someone crawling towards you as fast as Reagan was, sticking her tongue out at you. The novel said the tongue was literally like a snake and that it went as far up to her ankles. If they somehow pulled that off, that would have been awesome and scary. A lot could be said about this movie, like the iconic scene in which Father Merrin steps out of the taxi and stares up at the McNeil house, and the window to Reagan's room shines down on a silhouetted Merrin, which happened to be Max von Sydow's first day of work shoot in the entire movie. First day on the job happened to be his most iconic. Of course, this shot was used in all the posters and DVDs. Bet you didn't know that. Kill me. The exorcism of Reagan is obviously the most talked about part in the film, with Reagan spinning her head clockwise, which was a life-size puppet also used in the scene where Pazuzu calls Reagan Chris's cunting daughter. Jesus Christ.
The power of Christ compels you! The power of Christ compels you!
Yeah, that scene's been parodied up the ass. Gotta mention that line.
Christ compels you!
I need an old priest and a young priest. The power of Christ compels you. The power of Christ compels you. Whoa!
The power of Christ compels you.
Oh, does it? Does it compel me?
The power of Christ compels you.
Does it, Jay?
The power of Christ compels
Is
you.
the power of Christ compelling me? Is that what's happening?
The power of Christ compels you.
Guess what? It's not that compelling.
Peter, what's wrong?
He's speaking in tongues, Lois. Our son is possessed. Meg, start at Psalm 41 and don't stop reading till I tell you. The power of Christ compels you. The power of Christ compels you.
You also see the struggles the characters go through. Merrin is an expert who is not intimidated, and Karis is not so experienced after all, because Pazuzu gets to him by disguising his voice as his mother, saying dirty things, lifting the bed off the ground, which stuns him, and seeing visions of his mother. So he's a real mama's boy, isn't he? The big climax comes when Pazuzu kills Merrin off screen, and Karis flips his shit, and Merrin looks hilarious dead, by the way. Wow, that was cold. Damien beats the demon out of Reagan, and Pazuzu goes inside of Karis per his request, and in an ounce of defiance before the demon fully possesses him to harm Reagan, he jumps out the window down the famous Exorcist stairs, which has become a huge tourist attraction, and people even paid money to see the stunt double fall down the stairs from their apartment windows. Karis dies from his wounds, so we're led to believe, because he comes back in The Exorcist 3, but we're not talking about that. Reagan is saved, but Merrin and Karis, on the other hand, she has no apparent recollection of what happened, and Chris packs up the house to get the hell out of Georgetown. The film ends on an okay note, no cliffhangers, no scary pop-up endings. Just Father Dyer, a friend of Karis, and Detective Kinderman, who has an awesome mustache, walk off to get lunch. And that's the end of The Exorcist. A lot can be said about this movie. A lot of alternate and uncut versions have been released on TV. People in the audience left the theater during screening. People fainted, were given barf bags, and so on. The set was believed to be cursed, and the director brought a priest in to bless the cast. There was a fire, and 9 people associated with making the film died. The room during the exorcism was cold as shit, with 4 air conditioners and the temperature being 30 to 40 degrees. Poor Linda felt very uncomfortable. She also received a lot of death threats from religious people fearing her to be a devil child, and had bodyguards protect her for 6 months. And there was even a stage adaptation. Hey, parents, take your kids to see a possessed, foul-mouthed young girl on Broadway. I mean, holy Jesus, mother of God, son of Satan, banana jelly, Hershey, Oreo, peanut mix, and bubble wrap. Crap, this movie is just crazy. Take it from me, but you can learn a lot about this movie through the power of the internet. But I will say this, it has a strong impact in the horror business. It would be nothing without it. It has many scary moments. I won't deny if someone says it's the scariest movie ever made. And whenever a family member is acting awkward or strange, you can always call the one hope.
The only hope.
The only hope. The Exorcist.